What's up, cat adjusters? Today I want to talk a little bit about something that's kind of controversial. If you post up something in another forum or like on Facebook somewhere, something about the virtual assist, you're gonna get a lot of feedback, and most of it's going to be kind of rough. And a lot of people are going to say things like that, you know, if you're just running around with it's unskilled, you're just running around with a camera, that you're going to be taking away money from experienced independent adjusters and all that kind of stuff. Well, I want to talk about virtual assist today, and I want to kind of explain to you what it is and kind of what the trends are and what are the pros and cons, and is it worth it to do it, or is it the worst thing ever? So basically what a virtual assist is, excuse me, is when the insurance company, insured files the claim, insurance company, instead of sending an adjuster to the house, they assign a desk adjuster to it. And then a field inspector with their smartphone is assigned an appointment to meet the contractor and the insured or whoever at the house. And basically all that inspector does is holds up their phone. It's got a little app on it that is either doing a live call with the desk adjuster, or it's just recording and then it gets uploaded. So you can either walk around and the desk adjuster will take snapshots of whatever they want and they'll tell you whatever they want, or you're going around, if you have a little bit more experience, and you're saying, all right, I need the risk photo, take that snapshot, I need that photo, I take that snapshot, and then at the end you upload everything and send it up. And then the desk adjuster makes a decision on whether they're going to pay for it or not, whether what you're saying is damage, and all. So it's out of your hands, basically. I think since 2016, this started kind of pop up on my radar, and I think that maybe last year and in 2016, Allstate did like 6,000 to 12,000 claims using virtual assist. This year, in the last 6 months, they've done almost 50,000 claims using virtual assist. So now Allstate's a big company, so it's not something that's like you can just decide to do or not to do. And if you decide not to do it, then it'll go away and all these experienced adjusters will be able to get paid. The insurance company is going to do it whether we like it or not. One of the other things is that insurance companies have been trying to do direct repair for a long time, which means that instead of having an adjuster do things, they have an agreement with contractors to the contractors agree to use the estimating guidelines of the insurance company, and in exchange, the contractor can either get the job, either has the job locked in, or has the first dibs on trying to sell the job to the insured. If we're talking about roofing claims, usually with water mitigation, it's Service Master is going to be at your house in 2 hours, and they'll take care of everything, and we'll pay them, kind of thing. But with roofing claims, people want to pick and choose. So there's some distinctions there. But this is just, a reason I bring up direct repair is because the insurance companies are trying to find ways to streamline the process for the insured so that there's less of a gap between when the insured files a claim and when they get settled. And they're trying to kind of get more control over the quality of how the claims are handled. And when IAs go out in the field, especially on a big event like a big hurricane, the quality is all over the board. I mean, you've got brand new people, a lot of brand new people, many of whom have never done claims before, trying to handle, complicated water claims or wind claims or flood claims or whatever, and they tend to make a mess of it, and it's just a fact, which is one of the reasons why training is so critical and so important for you guys. So the insurance companies, with these broadband networks for your phone and all this kind of stuff, they're finding that they can do things a little bit more digitally. They can text. Insureds are really open to being texted. And some people, like when I was a staff adjuster, I had people who didn't want to talk on the phone at all. They just wanted me to text everything to them or send them an email. So it's kind of, they're trying to find ways to serve the customers that is the fastest and is most comfortable for the customer. And it's not always having an adjuster at the house. Although you could very easily make an argument that personal touch of having a human being there is, going to make their customer service ratings pretty high. The big companies in property insurance, they all compete on customer service. That's basically how they kind of run their businesses at the top level. It's definitely not in their claims processes, because anybody who's worked any claims for any of those companies knows that they're still using workflows from the 90s. Anyway, are there claims? I mean, are there opportunities for people to work? Like, could you go work right now as a virtual assist? The answer is yeah, you definitely can. Mad Sky's got a program. It's nationwide as far as I know. They do CAT, and they also do some daily stuff, but it's almost all wind and hail. Hancock, who does ladder assist, also is doing virtual assist now, which I didn't know until last week. Pilot Catastrophe has started doing their own program. I think they kind of saw the writing on the wall. I know that Pilot would rather send out nothing but expensive, experienced field adjusters who are going to handle the claim from first call to the writing the check. But if their clients, if Allstate or State Farm or whoever are wanting to do everything virtually and just do this virtual assist and take more control with their desk adjusters in their offices in Richardson or wherever they are, then Pilot has a choice. They can either say, no, that's, we want to only give you good, field adjusters and then just not get the work. Or they can say, well, all right, we'll jump on board and we'll try to help you out in whatever way we can. And I think that's the decision that they made, because Pilot has an app they've developed on their own so that they can do inspections on demand, which is kind of a cool deal. There are claims, and there are claims. The volume's growing all the time. I think right now they're doing mostly wind and hail and probably more CAT than daily. But going forward, I think they're going to start picking up smoke, fire, water claims, and more regular daily stuff. So it's not going away. Let's just put it that way. The pros to doing the virtual assist are, you don't need a license. You don't need more than a webinar or whatever's worth of training, because generally speaking, especially when you first start out, the desk adjuster is going to walk you through their inspection. They're going to tell you what to scope. They're really the only training that somebody needs to do virtual assist is to learn how to use the app and to know how to accept an assignment or decline an assignment, how to upload, download, all that kind of stuff. So you don't need any certifications. The app is on demand, so if you get an assignment, it pops up on your phone, you could say, yeah, I want that one. It's at 2 o'clock tomorrow. I'll take it. Or, no, I'm going to my brother's wedding tomorrow. Decline. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to, there's no, calling anybody. There's no setting an appointment and then rescheduling, whatever. You don't do that part. If you do have to reschedule something, you can call the insured and reschedule with them, and then call Mad Sky or Pilot or whoever it is you're working for and say, this inspection was supposed to go off at 2 o'clock today, but I can't make it. And I talked to the customer and we reschedule. No, they have no problem with that. Other than that, you don't have to make any calls. You're not making contact calls. You're not setting appointments. You're not settling with the insured. You're not doing any of that stuff. You're not, coordinating with the contractor. Pretty much, you get the assignment. It says 2 o'clock tomorrow or 2 o'clock next Wednesday, and you say yes or no, or can I do it at 11, and they'll work it out. And you're not making that call. Customer service people are, or the desk adjuster is doing that. You're not writing an estimate, which, I'm going to put it this way. Scoping the house is the easiest part of the entire claims process. It is the simplest. In a lot of ways, it's the funnest because you're outside and you get to talk to people, or, not if you're by yourself, climbing around on roofs. Sometimes you could think of it as a little bit of a challenge to find all the damage and make sure that you've identified this thing properly or that thing. So there's no sitting down in your car or going back to your house or your hotel later and writing an estimate in XACTIMATE. There's no general loss report. There's no estimate. There's no activity diary. There's no billing invoice. There's literally nothing else for you to do. You show up on site, you walk around the house, taking photos, and then when you're done, you hit upload and you go jump in your car and go do whatever you want to do. Well, if you got another appointment, then you go to that. If you want to go to the beach, you can do that. You don't have to call anybody. You don't have to make any decisions on the claim. That part's all taken care of for you. And again, this is kind of an objection. This is kind of an objection that people have regarding. I'm pretty good at this. Regarding becoming a VA, is because you don't have any responsibilities, and it kind of dumbs down the whole claims process. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But for now, suffice it to say, the pros are, at least as far as doing the work, you're not really doing much work. You're just only doing the scope, only the inspection. You're not labeling photos. You're not doing anything. It's all done. It gets uploaded, and somebody else does that for you. You're not having to interpret the policy. You're not having to make a coverage decision, which is, that's depending on the kind of storms you get sent on as a regular field adjuster. That can be challenging, and that can take time because you're having to look through the policy. You're having to call your manager or call the policy person or your help person, whoever, and dig around and make sure you're making the right call on the claim. You don't have to do that with this. Somebody else does it. Even if you see what you think is hail damage, you don't say that you saw hail damage. You just circle what you think is hail damage. You take pictures of it, and then somebody else makes a decision, and it's out of your hands. So some of the more existential sort of benefits, I think, are that this is kind of, you can learn how to scope without really a whole lot of pressure, because you're not running up against the clock for anything, and somebody else is telling you what to do, at least on your first ones. So you can kind of learn on the job as you go. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to have somebody ask you a question that you can't answer, because all you do is say, your desk adjuster will contact you, and if you have any questions out of that. Or if the desk adjuster's on the call with you, you can say, oh, Mr. Insured has a question, and hold it up. I mean, I've done that. I've done this for Matt's guy before, done that very thing. Because I'm not going to answer the question. I'm not authorized to, even though I'm an experienced adjuster. I know when to keep my mouth shut. So this is a stepping stone to becoming a full-blown adjuster. If you can, if you're kind of on the fence about whether or not you want to do this, or you want to get some experience that counts as experience, you can get on. We'll just use Pilot as an example, because I know that they have a program right now that they're actively recruiting for. You get on as a VA for Pilot, and this is, you kind of get into their ecosystem. So they'll start giving you assignments, and you'll start handling those inspections. You'll learn how to scope a house, and then you will be on their payroll, and then that counts as experience. And again, I mean, you don't have to have a license or a certification or anything like that. And Pilot, nobody's told me this, but I have to believe that if there's a big hurricane and they've got, 5,000 VAs, and the choice between 5,000 VAs and 5,000 people off the street, they're going to pull from their VAs first, because at least they're a known quantity. They're already in their system. They're already on payroll. They already know probably who they are, because you're going to have to talk to somebody at some point as a manager. So I think it's a good kind of a way to ease into it. Plus, you can kind of see if this is for you or not, and you don't have to take every job that comes down. So counts as experience, and it's also, at least as far as I know with Pilot, that it weighs heavily when they're looking to add you to their roster of full-time, full-blown adjusters. So, and that's a pretty important distinction, especially because Pilot is such a big company, and they run claims all over the country all the time. So what are some of the cons? I think because it's just kind of getting off the ground, and it's really kind of getting on people's radars. The claim volume is lower right now. Like earlier I said, Allstate has, last year I think they handled like 12,000 or 7,000, something like that. This year they've handled almost 50,000, like 47,500, something like that, in the last 6 months. So they're ramping it up, and I think Allstate's all the way on board with this. But still, I mean, it's still not something that everybody's doing, and it's still kind of, in its infancy. So it's maybe a good opportunity to get on the ground floor. The pay is not as good as it is for a regular standalone field adjuster who's going to make the call, scope the house, write the estimate, and settle with the customer. But considering you're not doing any of this stuff, it's still pretty good, and it's pretty easy, to be quite frank with you guys. I wouldn't be kicking this VA thing out of my bed just because somebody on some Facebook group bashed it because they thought it was, ruining an independent adjuster, whatever. I know you guys I know you've seen this because I've seen it. It's still money, and it's still a foot in the door, and it's still experience. And so, it's somebody wise told me one time, he said, Matt, it's not how you start out, but how you finish up. So if this is how you can get in, without any of these things, you find out if you like doing claims and you like being out and doing inspections, and you find out you do like climbing on roofs, you're not terrified of them, then you can, as you go, you can pick up more training, you can pick up a license, you can start getting your XACTIMATE certifications, and then you're already, like I said, you're already in the ecosystem, you're already on payroll, and when the big event drops, well, you're on the roster and you're ready to go, and you know what you're doing, and they know that you know what you're doing because they have already seen what you've done, and they keep notes on you. They keep notes on every adjuster. They know what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, what their metrics are, and all that stuff. Those companies all keep track of that stuff. So it's only wind and hail right now is one of the other cons. Again, so you're not going to get like wildfire in California. You're not going to probably not going to do hurricane. They might do smaller wind claims. They might kick over to like a VA sort of a thing, but on a hurricane. But I think, generally speaking, it's going to be windstorm in Oklahoma City or hailstorm in Dallas kind of thing. So, but I think that's going to change as they, build out their workflows and see what works and what doesn't, and how accurate, let's put it this way, how accurate of an estimate they can get out of a virtual assistant or a virtual assist without actually having a trained adjuster on site. So I think that's probably where they're going with that. So they're going to add on smoke and fire and water and all that other stuff as they go. So what's it pay? Pilot is paying $75 to $165 per inspection. I don't know what the details are, like if it's depends on the type of loss or whatever. That's just the pay range that I was quoted when I asked about it. And the only other one I know who pays is Matt, or what they pay is Matt's guy, because I was doing some stuff for them this summer, and it's $150, whether it's a little teeny tiny thing or a 75 square roof house. So it's $10.99, and it's all through the app, and it just pops into your checking account, when the next payday rolls around. So it's pretty simple. And again, you hear a lot of people saying, "Is this the end of the independent adjuster?" And I don't think so. Not any more than drones are, or direct repair. And again, I mean, the insurance companies, we kind of work at their behest. We're sort of, there at their pleasure, because it doesn't make sense for insurance companies to staff. This is just the basic definition of what an IA is. Insurance companies don't want to spend the money and expend the resources to train great big huge cat teams for something that may or may not happen. So they've got a lot of people sitting around drawing benefits with company cars and company laptops, playing free cell on company time, and occasionally they get sent out on the field to go work storms. For the vol, I mean, most companies, or a lot of companies, do have cat teams, but they only have enough of those people on board to keep them busy for a baseline of cat claims. There's always big spikes. I mean, California earthquake, Hurricane Irma. This kind of thing this is what they have to contract out additional people to help them to be able to contact customers in a timely manner, because it's state law in most states that insurers have to be contacted within a certain number of hours or days. They have to be inspected within a certain number of hours or days, and after that they have to be contacted like every 30 days, and they have all these rules. And if they just try to send only their cat teams, their staff people down there who aren't enough to handle all the extra claims, they're going to run the risk of bad faith, because they're missing all these state deadlines, and the states will fine them, and it'll end up costing them way more than, well, I can't say that because I don't know those numbers, but it'll cost them a lot of money to have to deal with the state and the fines than it is, So they just decided to use independent contractors like us to go out and handle claims. And so the direct repair stuff, the virtual assist stuff, it all falls under that, insurance companies trying to figure out ways to serve their customers, to close claims in a timely manner, close accurate claims, and make it work for everybody. And by everybody, they primarily mean themselves and their customers. We are secondary, and we always have been in that equation, because we're the help that shows up when they absolutely need us, and we're not there all the time. We're not sitting in there, in their little coffee bars that they have in their offices, we're the people that just show up when they absolutely have to have some extra help. So is it worth it? Is being a VA something that you should think about doing? And I would say the answer for me is yes. I'm an experienced adjuster. I've been doing this a long time, and I to get paid $150 to just scope. I mean, I almost am speechless when I found out that that was an option, because I don't have to do all this stuff. I don't have to argue with contractors. I don't have to call anybody. I don't have to sit there for 6 hours and make 60 phone calls and then have to deal with voicemail. I don't have to do any of that stuff. All I have to do is go accept on my app, show up, walk around the house holding up my phone, and then hit done, and then go play golf or go to the next one or go do whatever. So yeah, I'm going to take $150 to do just a scope. And if anybody has a problem with that, you know, then you haven't been doing this for very long, because that's, like I said, that's the easiest part of doing claims. And sure, I have a lot of expertise. You know, I've been a senior staff field adjuster. I have done large loss. I've been doing this since 1999. I'm an experienced adjuster. I have a lot of skills, but I'm still going to take low-hanging fruit when it's there. And especially if it's something that in the off season, I can still make a few $100 every week by hitting yes on the app and going to somebody's house and walking around and taking pictures. Yeah, I'm absolutely going to do that. If there's a hurricane and they say, Matt, do you want to be a VA or do you want to go and handle 150 flood claims? I'm taking the flood claims in a heartbeat, because that's a gigantic pile of money. It's not, you know, $150 a pop. I have control over everything. So yeah, there's absolutely circumstances as an experienced adjuster where I'm 100% going to not do this because it'd be in my benefit not to. Big hailstorm hits, I'm going to go do claims. I'm going to be an adjuster. But for somebody who's been doing this for 0 years or maybe 1 year, or they kind of been in and out of it, and they're not, you know, maybe they did a 1 3-week storm last year and they haven't done anything yet this year, I'd jump on this in a heartbeat and start making some money, start getting some experience, start getting on people's radar, especially with Pilot and other IA vendors who do VA stuff, because unlike Mad Sky, with Pilot, you can kind of move up into the next tier, which is being a full-blown adjuster. There's no other position at Mad Sky except for going inside or doing something remotely that you can do. There's no adjuster position at Mad Sky. It's only the virtual assist. Hancock, there's only virtual assist. There's no other. You can't do any better than this. So if you get into a company, like I said, get into their ecosystem and onto their payroll and start getting to know the people, because you're going to be talking to people on the phone. They're going to call you sometimes and say, "Hey, we got one that might go off today at 4 o'clock. Can you do it for us?" And yes, I can. I'm going to help you out, because later you're going to help me out. So yeah, long story short, I absolutely think that doing the VA thing is a good deal, especially if your brand spanking new and you're you don't have all this stuff nailed down. Learning how to scope, being efficient, going around a house, moving around a building, moving around structures in the yard is a critical part of being an adjuster. And if you don't have that part down, you could spend all day long on one claim. But it's also the easiest once you get it down. So, I mean, you're walking around the house taking pictures, petting dogs and looking at the sunshine. It's nice outside. I'd do it. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave them in the comments below. That's all I got for you. So have a good one. Take care. Have a great storm.